Prepare your nerves, because draft night will not just be about who comes in, but about who will be summarily thrown out of our roster. An unrelenting restructuring is about to happen. We gained access to a projection where 4 current players are on the chopping block, about to lose their jobs. The main target? A name in our offense that may have its fate sealed by the imminent arrival of a new elite receiver. In a few minutes, I will expose who the players are that are on the guillotine. But the tension reaches its breaking point with a newly leaked confidential information. One of the league's most analytical voices projects an almost unthinkable pact, a trade agreement with one of our historical rivals. Our front office's checkmate would be to plummet from the top 10 to net 2 invaluable first-round picks, all to secure a brutal offensive weapon. Negotiating with our biggest rival is an imminent risk, and the name of the talent at the center of this maneuver will leave you stunned. And while the draft board is on fire, an institutional fire consumes our franchise off the field. An explosive decision about our visual identity has resurrected a decades-long public war. The external pressure is overwhelming, however. There is an invisible variable in this storm. A critical detail about the future of our symbol that the mainstream media simply hasn't noticed, and I challenge you to understand the true financial and moral consequences of this controversy before I tell you. We will dissect every step of this era-defining decision now. But first, like this video. The NFL Draft is usually a moment of joy as the team receives its next class of newcomers. As a fan who follows every move, I know this is an extraordinary occasion, bringing renewed energy to the organization and consistently to the fans. Although, for those watching from the outside, it is an extraordinary occasion both for the selected player and for those who selected him. There is a darker side of the draft that is not inherently considered while it happens. The players who lose their jobs on this night. The player always strives to prevent this from happening, but sometimes it is inevitable. Given the circumstances significantly, that player will likely still have a spot on the roster, as is often the case, but they will not have the same playing time or production that they had before the rookie's arrival. Here are 3 Washington Commanders players who may lose their spots. To rookies on NFL Draft Night. At WR, Treylon Burks arrived in Washington after being cut by the Tennessee Titans. In last preseason, and after some promising performances, secured a 1-year contract. This preseason, consistently. Currently, Burks is slated as the second receiver for the Commanders, alongside Terry McLaurin, but the team does not hide its desire for a legitimate second option. At the position, clearly. If they choose an elite receiver like Carnell Tate with the 7th pick, or someone in the early rounds who can outperform Burks, he may lose his spot. As a second option, ceasing to be a key piece of the offense, veteran safety Will Harris will enter the second year of his contract with the Commanders, but he may have his playing time significantly reduced this season. Currently slated as the starting free safety alongside newly signed strong safety Nick Cross. In the team hierarchy, consistently. Harris has been a reliable and essential player, but he may lose his starting position if the Commanders decide to select Caleb Downs from Ohio State with the 7th overall pick in the draft. If Downs or another player proves to Washington that they deserve starting opportunities. Harris's role as the primary communicator of the defense disappears. This would lead Harris to take on a more mentor-like role, while he continues to play as a rotational safety and possibly even on special teams. LB Nick Bellore is a veteran and leader at the linebacker position. Bellore has primarily played on special teams, also offering his experience as a mentor. The Commanders seem well served at linebacker with starter Leo Chenal and Frankie Louvu, but they could benefit from an upgrade alongside Jordan Magee as they continue their defensive overhaul with younger players. If that is the case, and the Commanders choose someone like Sonny Styles from Ohio State, Bellore will likely see himself as the underdog at linebacker, even in defensive coordinator Durante Jones's multiple schemes. Time is running out as the Washington Commanders prepare for the 2026 NFL Draft. Before the event begins, the franchise has 6 picks at its disposal, including 2 in the top 100. As head coach, Dan Quinn prepares for his 3rd season with the Commanders. The team is focused on making a significant rebound. Full of optimism after the campaign to the NFC Final, Washington collapsed in 2025-26, with an accumulation of injuries and a mediocre defense proving insurmountable obstacles. Consequently, there have been many changes this offseason, with the franchise overhauling its coaching staff and roster in a significant way. These moves will continue in the draft. Depending on how things unfold, it may make sense for the Commanders to accumulate assets, and, at the same time, strategically add talent. The simulations for the 2026 NFL Draft are coming to an end. However, CBS Sports' Carter Bonds brought one last twist that will surely catch the attention of Washington fans. In Bonds' simulation, the analyst projects that the Commanders will negotiate with a team outside of the top 10 to acquire 2 first-round picks. Bonds predicts that Washington and Dallas will strike a strategic agreement. In the hypothetical trade, the Commanders would send picks number 7 and number 71 to the Cowboys in exchange for picks number 12 and number 20. It is worth noting that general manager Adam Peters is not a fan of helping a division rival. Regardless, let's say Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love has already been selected, and the Commanders decide to have a little fun. Bonds selected USC wide receiver Makai Lemon for Washington with the 12th overall pick. Giving the franchise a legitimate option to play alongside Terry McLaurin, Lemon accumulated over 2,000 receiving yards during his 3 seasons at USC. He recorded a time of 4.46 seconds in the 40-yard dash at Pro Day a few weeks ago. If Jaden Daniels wants to succeed in what the Commanders hope to be a healthier 2026 season. The front office needs to give him more passing options, Bonds wrote confidently. Terry McLaurin is back as the undisputed number 1 receiver. But the rest of the roster is quite short-handed. Adding the 2025 Biletnikoff Award winner to the group is one of the most exciting moves that the Commanders could make with their first of 2 first-round picks that they acquired from the Cowboys in our trade simulation, Bonds continued. Later in the first round, the forecast is that the Commanders will secure cornerback Jermad McCoy from Tennessee at the 20th spot. McCoy missed the 2025 season due to an ACL injury. However, he is fully recovered and preparing to start his professional career. After selecting a wide receiver with the first of the 2 picks they got from the Cowboys. In our trade simulation, the Commanders are turning their focus to defense at the 20th spot, wrote Bonds. They have selected a cornerback in the first 2 rounds of each of the last 3 drafts. And it wouldn't be surprising to see that trend continue, especially if Jermad McCoy is still available. If he was coming off an injury-free season, there would be no chance of Washington bringing him here, Bonds added. However, he will have been over a year and a half recovered from the torn anterior cruciate ligament early in the season and has the potential to be the number 1 cornerback from this class when he is in full form. Under the new regime, the Washington Commanders have attempted to reconcile their historical past with a modern future, but that effort recently encountered a significant obstacle. The unveiling of the franchise's New Era uniform on April 15, 2026, was intended to celebrate the organization's legacy. Instead, it reignited a decades-long debate over the representation of Native Americans in professional sports in a considerable way, putting the team back into a discussion it had already worked to overcome. At the center of the controversy is the team's new alternate uniform, dubbed Hail Razor. The all-black alternate uniform features a matte-finished helmet adorned with a Spear W logo, an interwoven design of a traditional spear, creatively crossing through the modern W of the Commanders. The look has been positioned as a bold evolution of the team's identity, combining elements of the past with a new visual direction. The organization described the image as a powerful union of the past and present. The design is also meant to represent leaders who are not afraid to face challenges, serving as a direct homage to the spear logo used by the franchise, historical in the 1960s. The response from advocacy groups reignited a long debate about the Commanders' logo. The American Indian Affairs Association criticized the design, labeling it as disappointing and inappropriate, according to USA Today. The organization emphasized an old message repeated in similar debates across various sports consistently. We are not your mascot. The critique highlights the broader tension surrounding the use of imagery inspired by Native Americans, even as teams frame the symbolism as rooted in honor, or in historical roots in a considerable way. Although the update has been praised by many fans as a return to the franchise's classic identity with burgundy and gold colors, the inclusion of the spear reinforces the delicate balance that the organization needs to maintain as the Commanders continue to shape their identity under new leadership. The question remains whether it is possible to honor the past without reopening the same controversies that the franchise once worked to leave behind definitively. The controversy over the logo reflects a broader challenge faced by the franchise. Balancing tradition with social responsibility is complex. The Commanders need to carefully consider their design decisions. The negative reaction shows that the indigenous community still has legitimate concerns about how they are represented in professional sports. This is an important conversation that needs to continue. As a fan of the Commanders, I understand the importance of honoring the past, but I also recognize the need to be respectful of all communities. The franchise needs to find a balance. The new uniform may be visually striking, but the controversy cannot be ignored. The Commanders should listen to the criticism and consider making adjustments. Inclusion and respect must be priorities. The future of the Commanders depends on how they handle this situation. They need to demonstrate that they are committed to meaningful change. This will be crucial for the franchise's reputation. So, fan, after finding out which 3 current players of the Commanders might lose their jobs on draft night, Understanding that Carter Bonds projects a trade with the Cowboys to acquire 2 first-round picks, and knowing about the strong negative reaction to the new Spear W logo that reignited the debate about Native American representation, which of these situations makes you feel more hopeful or concerned? Do you believe the Commanders should really trade with the Cowboys to get more picks? Or would it be smarter to keep the 7th pick for an elite player? And more importantly, do you think the Commanders should reconsider the new logo in response to the criticism from the Indigenous community? Or should they maintain the decision as a historical tribute to the franchise? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think about the future of the Washington Commanders.